Looking for the best music for your
Alrighty. Hello and welcome into the Full Send Half Mast podcast, episode 101. Tonight is going to be a fun episode. We got a little bit of news, a lot of silly season stuff we want to talk about here at the beginning. But tonight, we are going to be going over we're going to have a little bit of a debate. We're going to be trying to narrow it down. We got about 8 to 10 nominees for Driver of the Year. So we're going to, by the end of this podcast, me and Tom are going to come to a consensus and narrow that down to 4. And then we'll put that up to a vote for you guys to decide who the Driver of the Year for 2024 is across motorsports. And then also me and Tom, this is going to be a fun segment. We wrote down, I don't know, probably 30, 40 different events here, Tom. Yes. Memorable moments of the season. And we're going to talk about those, reminisce a little bit, and appreciate what we saw in 2024, and maybe give some of our favorite ones as well. And then we've come up with, obviously, we talked about this throughout the year, but I think this is awesome that we're going to do this year a Move of the Year nominee. We got 4 nominees. We'll talk about those, and then we'll have you guys vote for them after the podcast. And then we have the Bonehead of the Year nominees. We got 4 nominees for that as well. These ones were voted on by you guys. I went through and found the 4 highest voted Boneheads of the Year and put them in a poll, and now you guys are going to be able to decide who was the Bonehead of the Year. So I can't wait to get into that with you guys. But first off, Tom is with me here tonight. Tom, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm great. I'm great, man. Look, I'm really excited to start talking and laughing about some of the best moments here tonight, and talking about some of the biggest bonehead moves as well, because we're about to go down some early 2024 memory lane with some racing series, and I'm really excited. This is going to be a fun one.
This is going to be so much fun. I'm excited. I think the best way to start this off, though, is let's talk about some of this silly season drama or rumors or any of this news that we've heard over the last few days. First one I want to talk about, Trackhouse is moving up to GTD for the Rolex 24 GTD Pro. And I think that this driver lineup is mint, dude. I think this lineup right here could actually win the entire thing. With Scotty Mack, SVG, Connor Zillage, and Ben Keating. Holy cow, man. Can you have scripted a better team lineup for Trackhouse to make their debut in IMSA, dude?
No. Well, now we know where Ben Keating's going, right?
Yeah, we finally figured that out. Because we talked about that last year. Ben Hanley staying over at United. Ben Keating wasn't on the lineup, and now we know. Now we know. We thought he was gonna, because we talked about it last week. I thought he was gonna switch over to the other United car, and they were gonna split him up, and then maybe bring in 2 other drivers, that like silver drivers, to fill in as their second driver in command there. But he's completely gone. He's going straight to Trackhouse, dude. This team, dude, is going to be absolutely fun to watch, man. I think the GTD Pro this year might just steal the Rolex. I don't know, LMP2, the lineup, we'll talk about it if we have time here in this podcast. I do kind of want to go over some of the Rolex 24 entry here tonight. But LMP2 looks really exciting, but I think this GTD Pro class might just steal the show this year. Connor Zillage. I mean, I can't believe he's back running everything under the moon. Oh, 1 second. I just lost your audio. 1 second. I don't know what just happened. Let me go to the settings and fix that real quick. Check. Yes, we got you back. We got you back. Okay. I don't know what just happened. All right. Where were you saying?
I was just saying, like, the GTD class is always extremely fun to watch. It's always really competitive, and I just think there's a lot of greatness to be had with the GTD cars, just in general. I specifically, I'm really excited to see the Mustangs and see if they actually got their rear wing pillars fixed. But regardless, that GTD class is really fun to watch.
Yes, I'm excited because Porsche, they're back. We're gonna see if they can compete. Yep. And then Mercedes with the new LMG or AMG Mercedes. That's gonna be interesting to see. BMW really showed strengths at the end of the year. Vassar Sullivan, can they make a turnaround with the older Lexus that they're still wheeling and dealing out there with? We'll see if they can make a rebound. Ferrari at the end of the year winning at Petit was a big win for them. It's gonna be a great year. I think GTD is definitely gonna be a fun class this season. And it all starts with Trackhouse making a start at the Rolex 24. We did decide here that on the New Year's Eve, for the podcast. In 2 weeks, we're going to do a full IMSA 2025 season preview podcast dedicated to everything IMSA. We'll give you our championship picks, our dark horses, maybe some race winners, championships, different things like that. Showcase the schedule. It'll be a fun podcast. Talk about a lot of the driver lineups, some positives and negatives going into 2025. So that'll be a fun podcast in 2 weeks from today. So make sure you guys turn on those notifications. Stay tuned because IMSA is on the rise here in 2025. Also, Michelin Tire is signed through 2029 for the World Endurance Championship. I mean, I like this. I like this move. Michelin Tire's actually done a great job making decent tires throughout the last few years, especially with IMSA. I mean, like Tom always says, the harder than the stones that Jesus walked on. But I'm excited. At least they have a stable tire provider. I think that they're fine. That Michelin is definitely seeing the positives by being in the World Endurance Championship. The sports car racing, I think, is in the golden era of sports car racing. I think it's better than it's ever been, and it continues to get better. I think this is a big time investment, not only for the World Endurance Championship having a secure tire partner going forward, but also for them to get brand notoriety like they've been doing with IMSA. If you guys watch like a lot of the IMSA YouTube channel, they do a lot of promotions for IMSA. They're kind of the main title sponsor there at IMSA, being able to promote all of these. WeatherTech does a great job. Michelin Tire does a great job. So I think this will be good to get not only the World Endurance Championship recognized on the global stage, but I think getting it pushed more in America because of the rise of F1 in America. I think having a good tire brand that's going to be able to promote it in the States, I think it's going to be an awesome homage, I think, for the future of World Endurance Championship.
Yeah.
You want to talk about some of the silly season stuff? I think some of these are interesting. So Christian Rose, to the number 44 niche truck in 2025. I don't know how I feel about that one, Tom. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I like him. I just don't think he had it, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
He was showed promise and then didn't show I don't know, man. I picked him as a dark horse a lot of weeks last year, so I can't say that I don't like him or I didn't think he was talented. I just don't know. Does it seem like a good fit? Nice has kind of been able to kind of cultivate people's careers and get people to succeed. I don't know. What are your opinions on this move?
I was really hoping that Matthew Gould would get something there.
Yes, me too.
That's about it. That's honestly just about it. Anything other than that, I'm kind of disappointed, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they do have Honeycutt coming back, so we'll see what Honeycutt can do going into 2025. Maybe a precursor to our NASCAR open season, but I think Caden Honeycutt's going to be a threat to win multiple races in 2025, especially partnered up with Phil Gould there. So I'm excited to see what happens there on that side of things. But with Christian Rose, he's a rookie. Can't really put a lot of stock into it. I just don't know if this was the right move for his career. And I don't know if this was the right move for Nice. Maybe they see something that they can use to their advantage to be able to maybe mold his career. Maybe he's bringing a lot of money to the table. I don't really know what the deal is there. But Christian Rose, number 44 for Nice in 2025. This one I was excited about. Oh, Butterbean, man. He's going to be out of the cars too. He's going to go full-time ARCA racing in 2025 with Pinnacle. I think that Pinnacle is, I mean, obviously you got Venerini. Venerini's like the Hendrick Motorsports of the ARCA series. But Pinnacle, the last few years, carried by some really good drivers. Is really like Connor Mosack got a win this year with them. Connor Zilich got a win with them. What's the guy from last year? I can't even remember his name. Gosh,
I don't remember.
I can't remember. But he won a race with them in 2023. I think this is a team on the rise, and I think this is a perfect driver to bring into this program. I mean, has all the short track experience, probably one of the best short track racers in America. If I was to put a ranking list, I'd put him in the top 3 for sure. I think this is a good move for them. It's going to improve their short track stuff, now getting experience on the big stuff. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
All right, Tom. The rumors are leading us in a path that I'm really worried about. I'm really devastated
Oh
about.
my gosh.
You tell
The
us about
rumors
the
are
rumors.
insane, brother. The rumors are killing me, dude. So, Red Bull. I mean, it sounds like they're getting rid of Sergio Perez, right? I mean, it just sounds like it. There's not a lot of hope for Sergio. There shouldn't be in the first place. But with that, the replacement, all the rumors point towards Liam Lawson. and it looks like Yuki's gonna get snubbed again, and I don't understand it. Abu Dhabi, Yuki was fastest in the car. Well, he's obviously got the experience. He's got the know-how. He's been with the team for, I mean, what, 4 years now, something like that, 4 or 5 years, something like that. And he's proven himself in that RB car. So I don't know, man. I'm really disappointed. I think the person who should be disappointed the most is Max. Um, I just, I don't get it. I just don't get it. What? Why not Yuki Tsunoda? Is the question that I have. But I mean, man, disappointing.
Yeah, I'm extremely disappointed. I wanted Yuki Tsunoda in this ride so bad, but I don't know. Maybe I know money's got a lot to do with it. Obviously, that's probably the main driving force here. And I think another driving force is too is I think that whenever we've seen like an tier driver be matched up with another driver that could potentially compete with them, uh, it doesn't seem to be a winning endeavor for the team. We saw well with McLaren a little bit this year with Piastri and Norris, but I mean, whatever. I mean, they kind of worked it out throughout the season. Didn't have a whole lot of drama. We're gonna see it, I think, next year a little bit with Ferrari with Leclerc and Hamilton. I don't know how that dynamic's gonna work, but I think Max Verstappen having somebody like a Sergio Perez was perfect for him because it wasn't somebody that was gonna challenge him for a winning race basis all the time. Someone that wasn't gonna outshine him in certain areas. Maybe that's the play here with Lawson because I think Yuki Tsunoda, you put him in a Red Bull, I think he competes with Max Verstappen for race wins.
Yeah, but there's still money to be had in the Constructors' Championship. So, and I mean, you're in the history books, you get the clout for next year, you get, whatever else is the benefit of the Constructors' Championship. There's no reason why Red Bull should have lost the Constructors' Championship, to be honest with you, in 2024. There's no reason. There's absolutely no reason. And Sergio Perez should have won in Australia when his teammate had that brake failure. So I think that there is some benefits. I think it far outweighs the cons, and to have some healthy, keyword healthy competition is always going to be better than no competition. I believe. I mean, we've seen teams do greatness when you have two guys battling for wins. Some of the greatest highlights of F1 in all time have been by teammates. I don't know. I feel so bad for Yuki, man. I feel so bad.
Yeah, I'm gutted for Yuki. Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully the rumors aren't true, and hopefully maybe we can see an upset here and Tsunoda will get that ride. But if not,
yeah,
dang, another snub.
R.I.P.
Tsunoda. Yeah.
R.I.P. Big homie, my little dude Yuki.
Maybe IndyCar's in the future for Yuki.
He'd freaking dominate. Dude.
He would kill it, dude.
He would absolutely dominate. Yeah.
It would be so much fun to watch. All right. Next little bit of news. Big Machine Vodka has announced that they're going to do a partnership with Forte Racing in the Lamborghini and GTD next year. Bringing in PK as a driver. I don't know if it's full-time, part-time. I didn't really read the article in depth, but
it was just Daytona.
That's just all they announced.
That's
going to be super.
Potentially
I think this is
more.
Great, man. I mean, even some of these other teams that are like maybe mid-tier in other series are trying to see the value in IMSA. I mean, we've seen it.
About time.
Yeah, exactly. We saw Starcom. They got shuffled out of NASCAR, and now they're running in the Pilot Challenge Series and having lots of success. I think this is awesome, man. I think Big Machine Vodka is doing some great things. You see Trackhouse making the investment to move into IMSA racing. I'm excited to see more teams make the leap as well to try to compete.
Yeah.
But PK, man, we're not going to see the last of him, dude. We're going to see a Rolex 24 attempt with him. And like we said, that GTD class, GTD Pro class, those are going to be some strong hitting classes this year. And I'm excited to see what they can do. Last little bit, Jack Wood is going to be full-time next year in the number 91 McAnally race truck in 2025. Paid driver. That's all I can say. His name fits him. It's going to be miserable for them next year, dude. Oh, man. Alrighty. If we have any time left at the end, I think we'll do the Rolex 24 entry list. But I do want to jump into the debate over driver of the year. Me and Tom, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candidates here. And between the two of us, Tom, we gotta make a case for these guys, maybe not make a case for these guys, and we're gonna have to narrow this down. So out of a consensus to these 4 for the driver of the year. First off, let's start with Max Verstappen. Why does Max Verstappen deserve to be driver of the year? Tom, I'll let you go first on this one.
GOAT. He's a GOAT. We can take in drives from Brazil. Actually, you know what? Can we just make the case with Brazil?
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
what the hell did we witness there? We witnessed a freaking alien is what we witnessed. And it's not the only time we've seen that type of Max Verstappen. There was
at Qatar,
his first race
wasn't the best car in the track, and he was able to hang on for that one too. So,
I mean, the drivers' championship, having the third best car, all the points he still accumulated. He was the best car in 5 races this season, 6 races or something like that, where he just dog walked the field. He was going to win Australia too, so put that on his record. He didn't win Australia, and he definitely had the best car there, and still won the championship. Even through all the diversity that was going on through the team, with Sergio Perez wrecking everything he could get his hands on, and Max still going out there and winning races, getting good results, hanging in there. Yeah, he broke down a couple times this year, but who doesn't? When you're racing a freaking garbage truck around Spa, what do you think he's gonna bitch about? I mean, to me, obviously, he kept his composure even in the hardest of times, as most drivers can do. Not like Lance Stroll in Brazil. What the fuck was that guy doing? Good lord. But anyways, I think that there's a huge argument here, and honestly, in my opinion, there's just no question about it. Max was an absolute animal this year, and I have a hard time arguing against it. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, everything you said is perfect. He put the team on his back. He found ways to win races. Struggling at the end of the season with not the fastest car, was still able to score points, still able to score race victories, was able to get qualifying times performances to keep him relevant all season long, fought through adversity, fought through another team that was with what people consider to be one of the best drivers in F1, was able to hold him at bay. Even with the surgence at the end with the Ferraris, still not let that falter him. Even with Mercedes at the end of the year, being able to fight back, not taking too many risks. I think this is a lock. I think this is a dead set lock. Max Verstappen gets nominated for driver of the year. I think this is definitely one of the 4, if I was to say so myself. I think it was an impressive year by Max Verstappen. And what I think makes it more impressive, Tom, is out of the last 4 years, this was probably the weakest year of those 4, and he still won the World Championship.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think that just says enough in itself.
Well, I mean, 2021 was a dogfight. I mean, that was just there was no such thing as a dirty blow. But still, this year, really, I mean, if you couldn't see the talent that was being displayed by Max, the absolute, I mean, just raw talent that we saw on a weekly basis coming out of that number 1 car out of Red Bull. I mean, I don't know what else. I don't know how else to explain what raw talent is. I mean, look in a dictionary, you pull up raw talent, and Max Verstappen's name is there. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, holy cow! I'm almost like speechless by his performance this year. I mean, it'll probably go down as one of his most forgettable seasons because it's his 4th year in the row that he's won the championship. But damn, dude.
Unbelievable.
What a drive.
Yeah, all throughout the whole season. What a great drive. So I think definitely me and Tom are consensus. I think this is definitely going to be a lock for driver of the year nominee. Next one I want to talk about, though, let's talk about Justin Allgaier, okay? My reasonings for putting him on this list is not only did he win the championship in Xfinity, not only did he put on a career drive to win that championship, being basically a lap and a half down, late in that race, having several penalties, the restart violation, the speeding penalty, getting the well-timed caution, being able to fight through traffic, make bold moves, the awareness to not only not race Herbst into that final corner and cost himself the championship, the awareness to be able to just settle into the second there to win this championship, unbelievable. And on top of that, let's talk about the season Justin Allgaier had. He wins, or he doesn't get as many wins as you think he should have had throughout the year. He dominated early parts of these races, won so many poles, so many stage wins this year, led the points basically all season long until the final race where it kind of fell apart on him at Bristol. And then hit the ground running in the playoffs. When it really looked like the momentum was swinging away, he was able to put that team on his back, carry them forward into the championship, made him a relevant contender into the championship four, and then once he got there, was able to put on a career drive. I think he 100% deserves a nomination for Driver of the Year.
Yeah, look, he had a pretty typical Justin Allgaier year, right? I mean, we're talking about the Denny Hamlin of the Xfinity series, where he goes and he does he struts his stuff throughout the year, he gets to the playoffs, and somehow, one way or another, he makes it to the Final Four and then falls apart. Just absolutely falls apart. This year, that Phoenix race, dude, holy crap. Like Jay said, a lap and a half down, he comes back and he wins the freaking thing. I mean, all day long, he had the fastest car for sure. And working his way up, but the night really hit and that car took off. And
in a backup car too. I mean, that's another
in a backup car
as well. Yeah.
So, winning a championship is already pretty difficult in itself. I think it's it's probably the most difficult in the Xfinity series for the NASCAR tiers. So you know, I think if you, win a championship, especially in the Xfinity series, I mean, you had to have all of your ducks in a row. I mean, that was somewhat evident with Justin Allgaier. He may have just stumbled upon a freaking amazing discovery for that Phoenix race with either setup or car, or it couldn't have been car because backup car, but with setup. And I think that he made a bad situation. He made the best out of a bad situation, and it takes a lot of driver to do that. And yeah, what a season for Justin, really. What was it? His 7th or 8th Final Four appearance?
Yeah, something like ridiculous. I think it was like 7th.
Finally,
I think it was the 7th.
Finally won one.
That's crazy.
So that's crazy, and for him to finally pull it off, GG's.
Yeah, I agree. Fantastic season by Justin Allgaier. One we'll be talking about for years to come. Definitely put his stamp on the NASCAR Hall of Fame with the season he had here in 2024. This next one could be debatable. I put it on. I think Tom also put it on as well, and I think he deserves, even if he doesn't become a nominee, I think he deserves an honorable mention because what Pierre Gasly did this year was super, super impressive. Those Alpine cars at the end of 2023, we came into the 2024 season thinking that Alpine was going to contend for points on a regular basis, and we did not see that at all. But that did not slow Pierre Gasly and that team down. They continued to dig and fight all season long. He was the first driver in the 74-year history of Formula One to finish a season without costing his team any money in damages or repairs. Unbelievable season. At the end of the season, some of his more impressive races at the end at Qatar, scoring points, and the finale at Abu Dhabi scoring points, and then the Brazil race getting a podium there as well. Really found his stride at the end of the season. And if you want to talk about it even deeper, in Qatar, they call that the $1 million drive, or the $30 million drive. Being able to gain enough points to pass Haas in the Constructors' Championship. Shout out to Pierre Gasly. If he doesn't get a nominee here tonight, we do want to give him an honorable mention. That's what I'm going to say about him.
The reason why I feel like he needs to be here is he's the first driver in F1 history to have no damages throughout the entire year. Okay, let's broaden that. Let's broaden that to all racing series through all of time. Who has done that?
No.
Dude, I mean, look, even Scott Dixon in IndyCar makes mistakes, right? Jimmy Johnson in his prime made mistakes. Jeff Gordon in his prime made mistakes. Dale Earnhardt, Richard Petty, they all made mistakes. I don't even... I can't even put into words how monumental this is. Like, I sincerely think like this is like a Nobel Peace Prize award sort of level that we're talking about here. Imagine you are a budgeted team, which every F1 team is budgeted, and you choose a driver who will get you the best performance out of the car, but at the end of the year, you have not spent one dime on crash repair. Imagine how much you can make that team grow just by no crash damage. It's insane what he did this year. I mean, we're talking about the most dangerous turn ones in motorsports. Standing start, full throttle down into turn 1. 0 times Pierre Gasly has been involved in an incident in turn 1 in 2024 at the start of a race. That's freaking insane, dude. That is so insane. And then to back it up with a incredible finish at Brazil, and then doing what he did in Abu Dhabi, it's just insane. It is just insane what Pierre was able to do. Even with all the turmoil in his team, he was able to still focus in on the race, not crash, not hit a wall, not hit another car, and $0 in crash damages. It's freaking insane, man. That is insane.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane. I agree. Pierre Gasly. I mean, shout out to Pierre Gasly this year, man. And not a lot of people are talking about it. I think that we definitely had to give him some shine here tonight because what he did was historic. Absolutely historic.
Yeah.
Let's do the next one. I think we threw this one up here. Connor Zilic. Let's just talk about Connor Zilic this year. Put himself on the map. Me and Tom knew who this guy was last year, 2023, with that Mast MX-5 Cup race where he put like 3-4 car lengths on the entire pack behind him and dominated. And I was like, that's someone to watch. And not only did he do that, he moves this year into more stock car-esque style racing. He wins most of the races in the ARCA E series, either first or second every time he made a start there. In the ARCA series as well, first or second every damn race he ran. Unbelievable there. Gets his first ever Xfinity Series win this year with Junior Motorsports. Beating the likes of SVG, AJ Allmendinger, some of the best road course drivers in NASCAR history. I mean, and not only that, then he goes out and wins the Rolex 24 at 17 years old. I mean, unbelievable. Goes and wins, he won Sebring as well after that. He also ran in the 24-hour Le Mans. I think he still finished top 5 at Le Mans. I mean, just what he did this year at being 17, 18 years old throughout the season. I mean, there's just no other driver I can think of in the history of motorsports that has done what Connor Zilic did this year and made himself a household name. Me and Tom were watching him a year before everybody else put him on their radar, and I think Connor Zilic is the future of motorsports. He could be successful in whatever he drives. If he decided tomorrow he was going to go to F1 and go through the ladder system there, he'd be in F1 in 2 years and be one of the best drivers on the grid. IndyCar, he went to IndyCar tomorrow. He'd be in racing tomorrow in this season in IndyCar, and he'd probably be competing with Alex Blow for the championship. He's proven it in IMSA. He can run LMP2 cars. He can run GTD cars. He can run a damn Mazda MX-5 Cup. God, he could drive a shopping cart to victory lane if he had to. This dude is a revolutionary talent. I think he 100% deserves a nominee for Driver of the Year.
Yeah, I think mainly the deal with Connor Zilic is look at the diversity of the cars that he's driving and being successful in. It's not just one series of cars that he's being successful in, right? It's LMP2s, it's the Mazdas, it's stock cars, it's put him on a bike and let him race in Tour de France. I mean, he could do it. I mean, that dude and his campaign this year was freaking insane. And for him to get hooked up with Trackhouse and Red Bull, uh, this kid's going places, and it's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. He is a generational talent, and we're gonna be talking about Connor Zilic for a long time.
I agree. I agree, man. Dude, I'm so excited for the future. Definitely on the bandwagon. Like I said, man. Like I can't stress this enough. Last year, watching that Mast MX-5 Cup race at Daytona, and these cars, great. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you do know what I'm talking about, you know how impressive this is. It's a pack racing style race, and he pulled like 5 car lengths on the pack, and it was they just there, just racing ahead of everybody else in it. Like, I was mind blown, and they're like, "Hey, he's only 16 years old." I'm like, "There's no freaking way, dude. This dude's the greatest driver I've ever seen in my life." Yeah, I've just been impressed ever since then, and he's done nothing but completely raise the bar ever since then. I mean, he's a goat.
He's a young Max Verstappen, man.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
He's gonna be one of those drivers when we did that last offseason, the Mount Rushmore Motorsport drivers. Connor Zilic, by the end of his career, he's gonna be one of those guys. Mark my damn words right now, dude. Yeah. All right, next one I think we should talk about, Louis Foster. I think even if he doesn't get nominated, what a season Louis Foster had last year. Really struggled in Indy NXT. Really did not have this figured out. Was really struggling to get performance. And I think what made the shift, and Tom alludes to it all the time, because it was one of the most impressive qualifying sessions I've ever seen in my life. With a broken the broken toe link on the front end was
it was broken A-arm.
A-arm, yes, broken, and he still qualifies on the pole with that.
Yeah, insane. It's so insane. I think we were in Discord watching that qualifying.
Yeah, dude, it was nuts.
And I was like, holy shit, Jay, did you just see that? He just smacked the wall and still got pole. And it was like instant, dude. I was like, this guy's the real deal. Because even if he had a big lead before hitting the wall, and then continuing on, he lost it all, right? He held on to it. All that time advantage he had, he held on to it, still got pole, and it was, if I remember correctly, it was just over a 10th, which is a lot around that Detroit street course. So that guy was insane. Yeah, he struggled for sure. Yeah. That first year he struggled. But holy crap, this year did he turn it up? He turned it up big time. I mean, again, we're talking about new levels here. I think Louis Foster made a new level for the Indy NXT this year, especially like what he was dealing with last year, just not being competitive and not getting the race results that he wanted. Look, I mean, it's pretty evident. He spent a lot of time in the offseason trying to perfect his craft, and it showed. It shows his determination to succeed showed, and now he's going to be racing with Rahal this upcoming year in the IndyCar series. So I'm really excited about it. But man, what a performance he had this year in Indy NXT.
Yeah, he won on Rovals, he won on ovals, street courses, and road courses.
Everything.
Dominant everywhere they went. He was the man to beat. And I think what really solidified it for me is I went to go see him. I had the privilege to see him in person in Portland. And Jacob Abel, with a faster race car, put the absolute hate on him, trying to pass him for the duration of that race. And Louis Foster did not make one mistake at all and was able to secure that victory. And I think that was one of the most impressive drives of the year by Louis Foster. And yeah, I think he definitely deserves a nominee here tonight. The next one, I think this might be a lock as well. I mean, this has to be Alex Palou, man. Not only did Alex Palou start the season, this is typical Alex Palou. We saw it a little bit last year as well. Was able to just start the year off on an absolute tear, winning on all the road and street courses and dominating. Ovals were his weak point, I feel like, the last few years. This year, you couldn't tell it, man. Alex Palou is this close to winning a damn oval race. This close. He's so close to winning one. With all the pressure that was applied for him. Man, McLaughlin really turned up at the end of the year. We had Colton Herta, Will Power, Scott Dixon, a lot of his championship rivals throughout the rest of that end of that year. Pat O'Ward was one as well. Through all of the speed and pace, this is a lot like Max Verstappen. That Palou never let the moment get too big, put the team on his back, always found performances. Even if he didn't have a good result or if he had some mistake happen, he always was able to overcome it and find a way to succeed. winning 3 out of 4 championships of the last 4 seasons. Alex Palou is a generational talent as well, and I think he 100% deserves a nominee for Driver of the Year.
Oh, absolutely. Look, he's my favorite driver in IndyCar. We've got the Hello Palou nation going on here. I mean, look, Palou, I hope so. I hope so. That whole McLaren talk going again. I ain't about it. I hope he's not about it. But Palou is a dominant force in IndyCar. Look, whether you want to admit it or not, at the beginning of the year, when you choose who you may think who's going to be a champion, Palou's always going to be there. He is going to be that guy. You got Palou and maybe Dixon. I don't know. He's getting old. But look. He before Mid-Ohio, he was still in the championship hunt. So I mean, like he can still do it. So I would say yeah, Palou, Dixon, and then you got the Penske boys. And then maybe Herta, maybe.
Yeah,
and then Award.
Yeah, an award. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But I mean, who do you place at the top of that list? It's easy for me.
No,
I think it's Palou every time.
100%.
I think Palou is the best driver in IndyCar. I think he's the best open wheel driver in the Americas. You could go over to the European nations and try his luck there. I still think he'll have massive successes. I think he's an IndyCar legend, and he will continue to work at that and get all the accolades, and it's going to come to him. He's got the hard work, or he's got the determination. He's got the success. He's got the proven method that's going to propel him up there with the Scott Dixons of the era. He is going to be the next Scott Dixon, and yeah, I just think that. Palou 2025, brother.
Yeah, I agree. Dude. I don't think. I mean, there's got to be somebody step up to take that away. I agree. I think he definitely deserves a nominee. He had a fantastic season yet again. This next one, I threw him up here. I think he needs an honorable mention, kind of like how I've said about Pierre Gasly. I'm gonna nominate Matt Campbell, and really because of the drive he had at Bathurst. He had an amazing drive there. Probably one of the toughest races to win in the GT4 cars. I mean, what a fantastic race. Watch that from start to finish. And what he did in that race, through all the different strategies, losing track position, gaining it back, avoiding any of the carnage, not making any mistakes. What a fantastic drive. To win at Bathurst, you don't luck into a win at Bathurst, and he definitely carried that team on his back. And then the other standout moment for me was his win at the Rolex 24. Those Porsches were not the fastest cars throughout the duration of that race. They never were, but it seemed like whenever you put Matt Campbell behind the wheel of that race car, he was going to find pace and be able to keep up with the Cadillacs. And he did throughout that race, through some of the tougher stints, through the nighttime hours, and then ultimately claiming the win at the Rolex 23 hours, 58 minutes, and 32 seconds. But nonetheless, not going to take it away from him. He still won that race. They're fantastic. And I think why I'm not going to put him as driver of the year is because after that strong start to the season, it kind of tapered off a little bit as the year went on. Didn't have any more marquee victories throughout the rest of the season. Was in contention for a lot of them, just wasn't able to get the job done. I know he made some mistakes at a couple races, like the big opener at Qatar for the World Endurance Championship race. They were leading or up in the front contending for the win. He ran it off into the gravel pit. Just small things like that happened throughout the year that kind of took this away from maybe not nominating him as a driver of the year, but I would definitely want to give him an honorable mention for the start that he had to a season.
Yeah. You know, I think that I could make a pretty good argument for Matt. The thing that just freaking kills me, man, it just freaking kills me, is that IMSA ended that race short.
Yes.
And let's be honest here, okay? Matt Campbell was going to win that race. But they robbed us of a great last lap battle. And it was going to be epic. They had two drivers on top of each other. I forget, who was the other driver again?
I think it was Blomqvist as in the 31 with action.
Yeah. So you had two drivers who were on top of each other, one more lap. I think it would have been legendary. Honestly, it would have been one for the history books. But really, IMSA robbed us of that, and not really Maddie. But yeah, I agree with everything you said, Jay. Yeah, I wish we would have seen him more
Towards the
in
end of the year.
more successful Auroras, I guess.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm a huge Matt Campbell fan. I'm excited to see what he can do in 2025. I think he's one of those drivers that he's like right there to breaking into that next level of driver, and I think he's the next upcoming thing. So I definitely wanted to give him a shout out or an honorable mention at least here tonight. Next one, Tom. I think you should lead off with this one because you picked this one. I agree with you 100%. Jamie Chadwick, lead us off.
Jamie Chadwick, what a freaking season she had! I think she finished 5th in points. Is that right? In the NXT,
yes.
somewhere around there.
4th, I believe, actually. Yeah.
4th? Okay, even better. Look, we're in a sport that has been dominated by males since the 70s. All right. Well, all you Danica Patrick fans, I hear ya. Okay, I hear ya. But what Jamie Chadwick did this year, P5 or P4 in points, winning a race. Come on. On winning a race on one of the most difficult race courses, not just winning the race, but putting the spanking on, brother. She spanked them kids out there, and she was just absolutely on it that day. Probably top 10 moments of the year, to be honest with you. Jamie Chadwick winning at Road America, oh my gosh. And
the first female to win on a non-oval in
that
NXT
too.
history.
Yeah, thank you. And I think I chose her for that weekend to win too,
did.
which makes it all better because I'm a big fan and I'm a Chadwick supporter. She has some real talent, man. She really does, and it's kind of like what's Dorian Pond?
Yes.
What's the GTD car she drove?
The Iron Dames. Yes.
Iron Dames, thank you. It's like the Iron Dames winning the last race of the year in 2023 and nobody picking it up. Yeah. It's the same thing with Jamie Chadwick at Road America. Nobody talked about it. I tried sharing it everywhere I could on every profile that I had. I mean, it was so underrated. She beat Louis Foster.
Yeah.
And Jacob Abel.
Heads up. Yeah, both of them head up.
And slapped them. Mm-hmm. She won by what, 3 seconds?
Yeah.
4 seconds?
And led the whole race. Dominated.
And led the whole race.
Yeah.
It's insane what she did there. And it's not just Road America that we need to touch on. It's the whole season.
In the ovals? Yes.
In the ovals. Look, just finishing P4 in a series that's been dominated by male supremacy in the NXT. What a freaking amazing drive she had this year. Honestly, history book worthy.
Yeah, I agree. I think the reason that she doesn't get all the attention or all the love, I guess, or the support is because she doesn't fit that mold of what they want a female race car driver to be, and it's kind of sad. And we'll talk about it with this next one too. But I think Jamie Chadwick definitely deserves an honorable mention. She had a great season, and when we're comparing it to other female drivers that have gone through her footsteps prior to her, she absolutely put them out to shame, basically. Outperformed them by a landslide. There's nothing to scoff at. Jamie Chadwick had an amazing year. Next one, this one's Abby Pulling. And Tom mentioned this, and I agree with it 100%. I think she definitely deserves a nominee for this because not only did she win the Formula One Academy Championship, she won just about every damn race. And what makes it more impressive to me is, you just mentioned it, Iron Dames, Dorian Pond. I think Dorian Pond is the greatest female race car driver on planet Earth at the moment. I think she is the star, the star. She is the gold standard. She's the bar that's been set with what she could do in anything she's driven. The Lamborghini Challenge, winning a championship at like 18 years old as a rookie. The winning in the World Endurance Championship with the Iron Dames at Bahrain. Being able to outperform and outpace gold and platinum drivers at Petit Le Mans as a 19-year-old rookie. I mean, as a bronze driver. I mean, just the things that Dorian Pond has done. She won the early rounds in the F1 Academy this year. Looked like it was her season or her championship win. Abby Pulling absolutely took what she did and she raised her game to another level. And that's what you want to see about motorsports. Not getting discouraged by a competition, but by taking it and thriving to be better than that competition. Abby Pulling did that this year. Won just about every damn race in the world in the F1 Academy. The pace was there every single weekend, and she earned and accomplished that championship in an absolutely phenomenal way. Congratulations to her.
Yeah. Is there really an argument here?
No.
No. Again, like Jay said, setting a new standard. Dorian Pond's been there. I think Abby Pulling, quite frankly, yeah, I think Abby Pulling is there with Dorian Pond. I think so. I just, what's the argument against it? That's what I want to know. She won like 93% of the F1 Academy races. What does that tell you, man? Like, it's on freaking rails, brother. I don't know, man. This is, to me, a no-brainer.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. I think what would be perfect scenario here, Tom. Abby Pulling goes up through the F1 route, and I would love to see Dorian go up through like the GTP or even the hypercar route in IMSA. We have both of them being represented in the two highest forms of motorsports in the world. I think it'd be freaking awesome. I think the future's bright for female race car driver. And if you're a young female race car driver trying to make it in racing, Dorian Pond, Abby Pulling, Jamie Chadwick, those are examples you should be looking towards.
Rachel
Not
Gatling.
the one, yeah, exactly. These are the girls that you should be looking up to and wanting to achieve. Even Catherine Legs, I don't think she gets a lot of respect either. I think she's done it the right way, and she's earned everything she's had. Those are the types of role models you should be looking up to if you're a female race car driver trying to make it. Those are the ones that set the standard. Those are the bar. If you can present yourself the way they do, then you're going to go far in racing. And I think all of those drivers have done that, and I think they're going to continue to do it. So I'm super excited.
Honestly, if you are a young aspiring female driver, these drivers here, they have support contacts. You can get a hold of them. You could ask them questions. They talk about it. They talk about being a close-knitted support group for like-minded females, and honestly, take advantage of it. Because again, like Jay said, these women, they are the standard, the bar. They set the bar when it comes to females in motorsports, and strive to present yourself like them, and you'll go far.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's well stated, man. This is a great topic. But now we do have to narrow this down to 4, Tom. So I'll give you my 4, and then you give me your 4, and then we'll see if we can maybe debate it and see how we can get down to final 4. But I think first off, Max Verstappen, I think is a lock for me. Justin Allgaier, I think that's another lock. Connor Zilic, I think that's definitely lock. And then for my final one, I'm gonna go Alex Palou. I think he deserves it with the drives that he had this year. I think that's my 4.
Yeah. I mean, we got to go with Max Verstappen. I'm gonna go with Max Verstappen, as a lock. I think Alex Palou is a lock. I thought about this a lot, and I'm gonna go for it. Abby Pulling. I think Abby Pulling, just being the standard, or getting to that standard that Dorian Pond is. I think that is just super critical to be a part of that. And I think she absolutely made a statement this year. I want to touch on Justin Allgaier. Because I chose Justin Allgaier to win the championship at the beginning of the year. He won it. I was behind his back the whole time. My problem to saying why he is not a lock is because he has been in that position how many times, and he still hasn't won it. He gets a good car one time, or it's not even that. He's had good cars in the past and still hasn't won it. I just think that the Denny Hamlin of the Xfinity series has had those opportunities, unlike others, and yeah, he finally capitalized on it, but I just, in the grand scheme of things, I think others accomplished more, if that makes sense. So, with that being said, I'm going with Pierre Gasly for a lock, because he made history. The first person ever to have 0 damages in a season. In one of the most longest seasons and the most race-filled seasons as well, ever in F1. 0 damages. I think that's just that in itself is very compelling. And then,
Well, we can. I think on the YouTube polls, we can do it up to 5. And so
I'm gonna go Connor Zilic. So that's my last one.
I think Connor Zilic is a lock. You said he was a lock. So now we have 3 drivers. We got to narrow down to just 2 of these 3. I'm with you. I think you're right. I think we do need to give Pierre Gasly a lock on this one as well because of what he did this year. I think 100%. And I think you make a valid point, and I didn't really put that into perspective, but I think you're right about Justin Allgaier. How many times did he get an opportunity to have this moment? And the one time he has a good car was maybe we're putting too much stock into that win at Phoenix, because if you think about the whole year, how many stage wins did he win? How many stages did he sweep and not get the job done? That's not a driver of the year to me. I agree. So I think if we're gonna narrow it down to 5, I think it's Verstappen. I think it's Connor Zilic, Alex Palou. Those are your locks. I think Pierre Gasly. I think we could definitely go with Pierre Gasly. And then I think Albie Poling. I think that Albie Poling deserves it as well. So that is it. That'll be our nominees this year right there. I think that's perfect. We're going to show a little bit of love to basically every series here under the sun. So I love it. Yeah. I'm excited to see what you guys say in the poll. We'll have that posted at the end of this podcast for you guys to vote upon. So I like that. Max Verstappen, Connor Zilic, Pierre Gasly, Alex Palou, Albie Poling. Those are your Dega Boys Driver of the Year nominees. Up to you guys to decide in the poll after this podcast. All right, Tom. I know we've gone about an hour now, but it's time to get into memorable and favorite moments of the 2024 motorsports season. I guess we could just read back and forth whatever we're thinking here. I want to say Harrison Burton winning at Daytona. What a special, magical moment that was. Probably will be his only cup win he ever gets in his entire career. But for him to do it at Daytona, of all places, which is probably one of the most historic places on the planet, but to have his dad in the booth calling him to victory.
With his dad in the booth, yes.
So that was special, cool. Man.
Very cool.
That race, that race made me a little emotional on that one too, man. I thought that was a special moment. And I think the only shame about that moment, Tom, and I think it has a lot to do with the playoffs, is we didn't get to appreciate Harrison Burton winning that race for winning that race and just being a moment where he was able to celebrate it and win that race and really take it in being his first career win. It was overshadowed by the fact that now he's in the playoffs. And then the talks for the next 2 weeks were, he's a first round elimination, first round out. I mean, just the disrespect, and it felt like the system really took this moment in that was memorable in itself and kind of put a little bit of down shade on it. I didn't really like that, but still a memorable moment.
Yeah, thinking back on it, I kind of agree with that. But you know what? That's the bed that NASCAR made.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how else are we expected to go about it?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, we could definitely get doing a whole podcast itself on just that alone. So.
Big Daddy NASCAR, baby.
Yep. I think you should do this next one because you've been talking about this all season long, and I 100% agree, man. This brings happiness to me, man.
Brother, I just want to say right now, #1 Lewis Hamilton hater since 2013. It changed this year, man.
Me too.
It changed, and I think it changed right here at this moment. The Lewis Hamilton Silverstone drive. What a freaking amazing drive that he had. Why did I change my mind on Lewis? He finally got to struggle in a car. And he started, I believe, he started to kind of appreciate a little bit more on what everyone else on the grid experiences probably year in and year out. And I think it kind of humbled me too, because there really wasn't a lot of hate for Lewis Hamilton himself. It was more geared towards the fans of Lewis Hamilton that kind of swayed my opinion of Lewis Hamilton, if that makes sense. Lewis Hamilton is not a bad guy at all. He's not. He does a lot for communities and overall a pretty decent human being. So yeah, I kind of got humbled too, but I feel like he got humbled as well. Just with all the struggles that Mercedes has had this year, not just this year actually, but with the previous years as well, since 2022. So, I think that this win meant a lot to him. It meant a lot to his fans as well. It kind of reiterated the fact that Lewis Hamilton is still Lewis Hamilton. He's still that guy. Like he could still win races even with the not the best car on the grid, and he's got the talent. He does have the talent. He's freaking Lewis Hamilton, man. So I just there was a lot of kind of emotions for me with this race and everything that I experienced, the things I realized, the third party perspective that I got to put myself into. It made me have a whole different appreciation for Lewis, and honestly, man, I mean, if I was talking to Lewis right now, I would tell him, I'd be like, dude, that is your best career drive. There is nothing that tops that. I'm gonna be able to go back for many years to come and watch that race, and still probably have the same feelings that I had on race day with that race. It was just incredible.
That was an awesome race, man. I think that was the first time in my life I actually rooted for Lewis Hamilton to win a race.
Yeah,
Man. Like,
yeah,
and
exactly.
And to piggyback off that, I think I got to throw the Vegas race on there as well. That was the second time in my life I've ever rooted for Lewis Hamilton. What he did in Vegas, being like 10 seconds back or 12 seconds back and driving it within 3 seconds on a less tire advantage than his teammate. I mean, Lewis Hamilton this year, I mean, especially that Silverstone drive. I mean, if you guys ever get a chance, it's going to be, there's something we're going to plan on wanting to do during this offseason. And one of them is we want to do, maybe start a new series. We talked about it, maybe reacting to race highlights from past races or whatnot, and give our live reactions and like talk about them as we're watching it. I think this is one that would be one of the first on the list for races that we'd have to do, because that was such a damn good race. I mean, one of the best races of the season, in my opinion. And Lewis Hamilton's drive was A class, A tier. Next one, I want to talk about Joseph Newgarden going back-to-back in the Indy 500. Not only going back-to-back, that's one of the hardest feats, I think, in all of motorsports, is trying to go back-to-back at Indianapolis for the 500. Unbelievable. But the drive at the end of that race, when he did not have the best car throughout that day. It was more Scotty McLaughlin had the best car. We saw Colton Herta probably had the best car. Will Power had probably one of the best cars. Those three were probably the most dominant guys throughout the portion of that race. We saw glimpses with Rossi and Pato, but then at the end of the race, Joseph Newgarden finds himself back at the front and had to fend off a hard-charging, hella desperate Pato Ward. Pato Ward makes a move, passes him late in that race, and then Newgarden passes him on the final lap to win the race, again like he did last year with Ericsson. Different circumstances, but still was able to make a last lap pass for the win. What a drive. Memorable moment, and seeing him go back-to-back was pretty special.
Yeah, it was cool. I don't have a lot. I freaking love the Indy 500 every year. It's just one of the marquee races of the world, honestly. And again, we get another banger of a race. And Jay alluded to it. The back-to-back is just a completely different aspect of this whole race. It's next to impossible to go back to back, and he did it. It was incredible. It really was. He was on those last 50 laps. He was just on a different level, man. He really was. And took advantage of other competitors' mistakes, and he took advantage of it right at the right times. I mean, it's easy to say, hard to do, hard to explain.
Yeah, 100%. Unbelievable race. Another moment from that race that was pretty memorable. I think this is a laughable thing, but you hung money.
Oh, hung money,
old
baby.
speeding penalty in the old Indy 500.
On the last pit stop, too.
On the
I mean,
last
it's
stop of the day, man.
Couldn't hold it together. Oh, hung
Oh.
money.
I thought that was memorable because that's the most Kyle Larson thing you would ever expect in the Indy 500 debut. Good luck to him this year. We'll be hyping it up again for more no prevail. This next one, Tom. I mean, I think this just goes without any saying. I mean, the Bristol, the first Bristol race of the year with that soft tire that lasted 15, 20 laps. I mean, that is probably one of the greatest NASCAR races I've ever. Actually, I think it is the greatest NASCAR race I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to look back at it. I think 2011 Atlanta between Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon at Atlanta with
Yeah,
the
that was a
same
good race.
circumstances was a freaking banger of a race. But this one, I mean, just holds another level, man. Like this, with what era we are in NASCAR and what package we have and car we have and tires we have and the lack of the, I guess, more created parity, the weird play, like all the stuff outlining what NASCAR has become that we all dislike. But to have this shining moment at Bristol with just me sitting there laughing, watching this race, jaw to the floor, just not knowing what's going to happen next. I mean, the magic of this race. I mean, this is, like I said, with the Lewis Hamilton drive at Silverstone, if we do go up forward with this new series, this will be another one of those races we'll put at the top of that list as for our reaction, because what a damn race that was, man.
Yeah, race of the year contention, man.
100%.
I mean, that was just absolutely incredible. And honestly, at first, when I was watching the race, I was kind of like, dude, what's going on here? You know, some people having problems. Some people are like, literally, it's like they brought a New York bus system, a transit system, to the track, while other cars getting fresh tires are just zooming right by them. You know, I mean, it was actually just freaking crazy. It was just crazy. And just to see that sight, it made me feel all nice, warm, and fuzzy. It's possible.
It is.
It's possible. We can have good races.
Gave us hope. Gave us some hope, man. We didn't really see it towards the end of the year. We had a little bit of glimpses at some stuff, but I mean, that Bristol race is just another level. It's going to go down as an all-time classic. I mean, in NASCAR history. I mean, if it already isn't. I mean, it's insane. I think the next one we got to talk about is Pipo Derani. I love Pipo Derani. He's one of my favorite drivers. I love watching him race, but damn, dude, did he have the most dominant car at Sebring and find a way to put it in a damn tire barrier, man. Oh, my God, dude. I can't believe that happened. I still can't believe it. I watch the replays of it like at least a couple times a month, and I still can't believe it, dude.
I remember talking about it on the podcast, and I didn't have any words but just to laugh, because it was so comical. Like, what are you doing pushing that hard when you already have a 16-second lead? Like, just chill out, brother.
With like
what are you trying to accomplish here? Yeah, exactly. Just like, what are you doing? Just, I think it was went 3 wide with 2 GTD cars or something like that, and it was just like pushing the issue. Just chill, brother, and you could have won the race. You know, like. My goodness, dude. That absolutely memorable 2024 moment.
Yes. I think you should lead us off with the next one here. With Wayne Taylor racing at Sebring.
Oh, man. What a freaking drive. Look, Pipo Derani absolutely shits the bed. But here comes Wayne Taylor racing and just comes back with a freaking vengeance. Wasn't it the first win with Acura? And did it in a very... In the second car, very dramatic fashion. He was, I forget who he's battling with. It was Ganassi, the Ganassi Cadillac, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And they were going through turns 3, and they were freaking hip checking and all this other stuff. And Wayne Taylor or Ricky Taylor, wasn't it Ricky?
Yeah,
Ricky Taylor. It was Ricky Taylor. Just hip checked him and then just drove into the sunset. I mean, it was impressive. It was freaking awesome. What a drive by those guys. I mean, definitely something to be proud of for the entire year. I mean, the Acuras really weren't that fast at Daytona at all, really. And then that Sebring performance after Pipo Derani doing Pipo Derani stuff. It was just what a fantastic race, a great race result for them as well, and a little bit of a confidence booster for Acura heading into the next couple of races.
Yeah, exactly. And they took that momentum all the way to the championship round until it fell apart there at Petit, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it was a great season by Wayne Taylor. Now we're seeing him move up to Cadillac next year. We'll see what they can do next year. It'll be exciting. I think the next one we got to talk about is that fuel saving strategy by Scott Dixon at Long Beach.
Ooh, yeah,
I mean,
brother.
he was
Oh,
5-6
man.
laps short and somehow made it to the end to win that race with not the best car. I mean, that is a career drive by Scott Dixon, showing why he is the GOAT
Yeah.
of IndyCar. Unbelievable moment.
Yeah, it's Scott Dixon, brother. He's a master at it. He is. I mean, he is the standard when it comes to fuel saving.
And my bold prediction in the offseason was he was going to go winless in 2024. And then he gets that win in the fashion that he does it at Long Beach. And like in the second, well, there's 2 crown jewels in IndyCar, in my opinion. It's Indy 500, Long Beach Grand Prix every year. And to be able to win, not only just not like to claim him to go winless, he wins the crown jewel of the year and a fuel strat, like just absolutely amazing race. He's the GOAT, 100%.
Yeah, that is incredible,
unbelievable. Next one I want to talk about, we got to talk about Dason Pursley's insane Chili Bowl Saturday. It goes from the mid pack in the D main, drives all the way through the D to start the back of the C, all the way through the C to the B, from the back of the B, all the way into the main event. I mean, and then gets into the Chili Bowl, starts 24th or 21st or 22nd, something in the 20s, drives himself all the way up to P4 in the Chili Bowl. And who knows, if he'd have started a few spots better, dude, he probably could have won the damn thing. I mean, that was one of the most impressive drives I've seen all season long. I mean, absolutely memorable.
Yeah. In fact, just going through the alphabet soup and just working your way up is a feat in itself. Even if he didn't even make the main, what an accomplishment it would have been just from that, just to drive yourself all the way up to B, to the B mains. I just, it was fun to watch for sure. He was absolutely fun to watch. We were watching the Chili Bowl here and absolutely losing our freaking minds about it because it was just so much fun to watch, man.
Oh, it was so fun. And some of those races too, making the final pass for the last transfer spot, like at the white flag or at the checkered, was just unbelievable moments, man. It gave us something to cheer for as the night went on. Another moment for the Chili Bowl, we have to talk about it. The whole T-Mez controversy with Cannon McIntosh, the slider dive moment by Cannon McIntosh. They're both in a transfer spot in the B main on the final corner of the final lap to make A Bowl, Chili Bowl main. Oh, Dason Pursley pulls a slider, gets the wrong end of T-Mez, sends him up into the catch fence. T-Mez starts trying to fight the officials. He has a memorable interview at the end with the trackside reporter saying, that's the Chili Bowl, you slider die, and then all of a sudden he tells him who it was that did it to him, and he loses his mind on McIntosh, can't drive Cannon McIntosh, and then the crowd turns McIntosh into a heel for the night because the crowd wants T-Mez. They escort him out of the Chili Bowl, then they are talking out, they let him back in, he's a fan. It was just the dramatics, it just, that's what you love about short track racing. That's what you love about the Chili Bowl, man. What a memorable moment.
Yeah, for sure. That was probably the Chili Bowl highlight. Right
100%.
there. Honestly.
100%.
Honestly.
They had us talking about it for a good week there. And more to the Chili Bowl, that's going to be our first watch party of the year. We're going to be doing a full day Chili Bowl watch party here. We're going to probably have to split it up into 3 or 4 different live streams. But it's going to be fun. We're going to start with the Alphabet Soups early in the morning on Chili Bowl Saturday, all the way to the crown Chili Bowl champion. And then in the evening time. That's going to be fun. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the channel. We're going to get that all set up for you guys here in the next few weeks. We're less than a month away from the Chili Bowl, Tom. We're getting back into 2025.
Yeah.
All right. I think you should lead us off with this next one, man. Old Roundhouse and old KFB.
Old Roundhouse. Roundhouse Junior and Senior taking part in their campaign to fist fight KFB after a lap 3 wreck. KFB putting Roundhouse into the wall. Man. What's most memorable about that fight? There's 2 things. It's the SpongeBob shorts.
Yes.
And it's the I suck just as bad as you.
Absolutely memorable moment. Man. Oh man, I'll never forget that. That made the All-Star race. Nobody even remembers who won the race. No, I couldn't tell you who won that race.
It's Joey Logano.
Oh, okay. Irrelevant.
But yeah, Yeah, what a display of fireworks. Like Jay said, nobody cares who won the race. It's all about, what KFB and Old Roundhouse did. But definitely, moment of the year for sure.
Yes, 100%. Next one I'll talk about is Grant Enfinger's Talladega performance and dominance. I mean, if we talk about his season
man.
in a whole, skated himself into the playoffs on a basically a stroke of good luck and turning up at the right time. Then starts the playoffs in an absolute abysmal way. Was non-factor. Goes into Talladega, the first round of the race of the round of 8, and absolutely put on a dominant, one of the most dominant plate races I've ever seen from any driver in NASCAR history. I mean, that to be able to control the race like he did, it felt like watching that race, you just knew he was going to win from the drop of the green. There was never, even when he lost track position and had to fight for it back, it just never felt like he was going to lose that race and clinch himself into the championship for one of the most dominant performances I've ever seen in a plate race.
It honestly kind of reminded me of the early Gen 6 Brad Keselowski runs that he had. It's almost the same thing. You almost felt like the day was already over because you know who's going to win or who's going to be his teammate. But I mean, in this case, it was solely just Grant Enfinger doing his deal. So, yeah, of course, that is an absolute. I didn't even remember that, to be honest with you. Yeah, damn, that was a freaking amazing run. In fact, I'll bring up another one too. Jesse Love, Talladega won.
Yes, I didn't even think about that one either. Yeah, that was a damn good race. I mean, that was another one of those races where he just was able to control. Like, he showed experience beyond his years in that race that not a lot of other drivers could have done. I mean, it was a great race, and Tom called it too. Tom said it from the beginning of the weekend.
I did.
He called it. That was a great drive. I think that's definitely another great memorable moment. I think going back into the realm of great races, I think the IMSA Detroit street race this year was an absolute banger. The amount of cars that Tandy ran over, DeFelipe, I think he wrecked half the field. The Ford Multimatic blowing up, the Corvette blowing up.
The Porsche and the Lexus.
Yes, the Porsche and the Lexus going at it. Oh, man. The dive bomb moves. I mean, this race
the front of the car's destroyed.
Yeah.
There's pieces everywhere. There's a bumper over there and a tire over there. The rear wing from the Ford was gone 20 laps ago. But, it's still racing on. Yeah, that was a freaking awesome
Bruni
race.
running into Jack Aiken. And causing that big I mean, just this race had everything. And then it had a great finish to the end, too, with Acura and Porsche battling out to the end. Acura gets the better of them at the end after Porsche kind of dominated the drive by Tandy after he tore up he had everything but the damn concession stand in this race. He drives himself back into contention. I mean, if you're a racing fan, this Detroit street race weekend needs to be on your bucket list with the Michelin Pilot Challenge, the WeatherTech Sports Car Series, the IndyCar, Indy NXT, like that whole weekend. It's a must-see thing. And honestly, it's on my list. I kind of want to go there next year really bad because it was such an amazing experience watching it on TV. I want to go witness it in person next year so bad.
For sure.
I think you should talk about the same go with the Detroit stuff as well. The whole Kirkwood Ferrucci thing. I think you need to touch on that one.
Let's just talk about Ferrucci now. Ferrucci obviously couldn't do much with the AJ Ford car this year. Miraculously finished inside the top 10 in points. So what do you got to do after that to make yourself relevant? You start calling people sexual slurs. And you start putting your hands on them, and you start throwing them out of your pit box, and you just, I mean, that's the Ferrucci. We're gonna call it the Ferrucci. Whatever move it may be, it's the Ferrucci, man. That's what he did. That's what he did all year long to stay relevant. But I mean, it wasn't just Detroit though. No. It was with Kirkwood. It was with
Grosjean.
Grosjean, yep, and Grosjean got the worst of it because even the pit crew members were sitting there doing this to him as they were giving Grosjean interviews for NBC. Like, it was just what a comedy show. What a comedy show.
It was so great, man. Ferrucci, he had so many memorable
moments.
Great
TV, don't get me wrong.
Great for IndyCar. Great for IndyCar.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, if I was IndyCar, I'd be
is great for IndyCar.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Ferrucci's great for IndyCar. You got to have that person, right?
Yes.
Because who is that person in the Cup Series right now?
We really don't. Well, we have, LaJoie's not
That's
that
the
guy. We
problem.
don't have the guy.
That's the problem. We had KFB, now we don't because he's in an
and then we had
RCR
Chastain. They reeled him in.
And
We have
Chastain,
Hocevar, but they've reeled him in. I mean, there's just we don't
have it.
Yeah,
we don't have it.
Yeah.
So, IndyCar again on the right path, except for the stupid freaking charters. I hope that's all gonna go away and we never have to talk about it again. But
yes,
the IndyCar's on the right track, man. And that's how you do it. You get drivers like Ferrucci and you put the cameras
K-Mag.
on.
We need to get K-Mag in there next. Hopefully he'll be the equivalent to Ferrucci in World Endurance.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. I think the next one we got to talk about, the Chicago street race. I put this in here because obviously big Bowman homer, and I think that was an awesome moment for him to get that victory. But the circumstances in which he had to do it on wet tires when the track was drying at the end, be able to hold off probably one of the best drivers in the Cup Series with Tyler Reddick behind him. What a great race. Joey Hand had a freaking phenomenal performance, was leading laps in this race. The drama with the rain coming in. We had all of the SHR cars minus Lyle for some reason hit some wall at some point in that race. I mean, took out SVG, who was the hands down favorite to win. I mean, that race just had so many layers to it. And I love the Chicago street race. I think street races are some of the best races on any schedule. It is. I mean, you've got IndyCar with Long Beach and now with Detroit with IMSA. And then you've got the street course for NASCAR at Chicago. I mean, some of the best races come on street courses, and it's just a fact. I mean, we have Singapore with F1. I mean, Vegas now is becoming a crown jewel event in F1, one of the best races every year. Street courses are it. Yes. Baku. Yes. I mean, street courses are the way to go, man. I love them.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. There's too much to unpack in that race to talk about it right now.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was a great race. I'll just share my favorite moment about the race real quick. It's when the reporter crew went to Lyle Gregson and asked him, what he was thinking about turn 10, and he's like, I don't know, man, just got a little bit of PTSD driving around there. I just thought that was great.
That was the best moment for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, next one on the list. The Verstappen and Lando Norris tussle at Hungary. That was an amazing moment.
Oh, yeah.
Battling for the championship. Verstappen doesn't have the best car anymore. Lando's definitely in the best ride in McLaren. Both battling for the lead. Verstappen unwilling to give the lead up. Norris doing everything he can to make it happen. And then Verstappen and him make the contact. And Lando pulls his hissy fit, pulls into the pits, parks the car. I think that moment right there basically put the nail in the coffin of the championship, in my opinion. And then Verstappen to be able to muscle out and finish that race regardless of the damage. I think that was just a memorable moment, the drama we needed out of this F1 season. And I think this is one of the greatest F1 seasons I ever saw, man. I think this season was better than 2012. I think this season was absolutely fantastic. It's just another great memorable moment to look back on.
I agree. I think that this was definitely, for me, the second best season I've ever seen. 2009 takes the cake. All day long with Braun GP.
Yeah.
But regardless, if you're a new fan and you started watching F1 this year, my God, are you blessed?
Yeah.
Because you might have many years of disappointment ahead of you. You never know. You never know. But it could be the same next year. I don't know. But yeah, holy shit! What a freaking F1 season, man! What an F1 season.
Yes. That's why I put this next one in, because this is kind of where it kicked off. Australia is one of the best Grand Prix of the year in F1. Every year, it's such an amazing race. But then Max Verstappen has brake issues, ends up DNFing out of the race, and you could see the shift in the Formula One racing world. That's when the season turned on its head, and we had this fantastic season layout before us. But the fan reaction to that was absolutely amazing. I saw some crowd videos of people in the stands when Verstappen went out of that race, and the crowd went freaking wild because he was out of that race. I mean, just a memorable moment. It kicked off a chain of reaction that we could have never predicted in 2024. Unbelievable.
Yeah. You know what? Everything you said there, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's it.
Unbelievable. Next one I want to talk about AF Corsa's drive in the 24-hour Le Mans. I mean, from the beginning of that race, they're the works team, man. They're not the big head honchos at Ferrari. They're not getting the same support and technical support that the main Ferrari teams get. They were the most dominant car in Le Mans. They would have won that race if they didn't have that mistake in the 7th hour of that race, where they were what? They were like a minute ahead of second place, dude. They were so dominant in this race. And then they put the BMW in the wall and got that penalty and were never able to recover from it. But that drive, those 7 hours watching that AF Corsa, I sat here in absolute awe watching that race, and I could not believe what I was witnessing. Amazing drive, memorable moment.
Yep, that was. Just, I think back at it, I just can't help but laugh. I really can't, man. But
I can't believe it, dude. They were gonna win that race, dude. 100%.
Yeah,
I will die on a freaking hill on that argument right there, man. They had that race by the balls, and they choked it. They choked it in the beginning of the nighttime hours in the rain. Oh, what a race, though. Next one I'm talking about, Will Power's seatbelt issue at Nashville, putting the death knell to his championship. I mean, there's so many events happened this year for Will Power that kind of solidified him choking away this championship. But the seatbelts, man, how do you fuck that up, dude?
Someone sincerely dropped the ball. That was so hard. So hard. Like, not just dropped the ball, but like clipped your nuts on the way down and then hit your pinky toe. Like, that's how bad it was.
Oh,
like,
man.
I don't even understand. Like, do you have that much adrenaline running through you before the race as that experienced of a driver that you can't, like, tug on your belts or double check them to make sure everything's good to go? Like, I don't get it. Like, Will Power had the legitimate shot to win the championship. And honestly, just pissed it away.
Yeah. So many moments, too. Like, running over people at Milwaukee. Yeah.
Milwaukee, yep. Milwaukee, and then Iowa.
Yep. Speeding
and
penalties. Yeah. And then here. Yeah. I mean, just an absolute way to choke away a championship. Memorable moments, man. Memorable moments. Next one I want to say is that Fuji drive by Valentino Rossi. I mean, if you guys didn't watch this race, I think this was one of the best drives of the absolute year. They were mid-pack in the LMGT3 class in this race. And when Valentino Rossi got behind the wheel, he was making 3-wide dive bomb moves, sliders, pulling crossovers. I mean, sending it on the outside, making it stick. I mean, Valentino Rossi in this race was one of the best, most entertaining stints of the entire season. I mean, what an absolute drive by Valentino Rossi. And we knew it. We knew it, Tom, because when we watched the 12 Hours of Sebring, that drive that he did there in those GT4 cars, we're like, holy cow, dude. He might be a force to reckon with in sports car racing. And I think the culmination of the entire season is just that stint there at Fuji. I mean, unbelievable. I watch it back all the time. I mean, I can't believe what he did in that race. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He looked like a damn seasoned veteran out there, dude. It was insane.
For him to go from motorbikes to this and be doing the stuff that he's doing, incredible. His 24-hour performance was pretty freaking good.
Oh, it was amazing. It was his teammate that screwed it up for him. They would have been a podium team in that race. They were fast.
Yep.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Also, we talked about it a little bit earlier. We don't have to spend too much time on it, but the Justin Allgaier championship drive, making all the mistakes that he made, being able to bounce back and still being able to win that championship. I mean, that was one of the drives of the year for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you should talk about the next one, Pato Award.
Oh yeah, the Pato Award Mid-Ohio drive. Man, what a legendary battle, right? We've got the top talent in IndyCar going against the guy who's challenging for the top talent in IndyCar with a McLaren, relatively new team to the sport, against one of the oldest teams in the sport. I mean, it was just I think it was the last 12 laps, I think it was. These guys were just freaking duking it out. And Pelot would use his boost, and then Award would use his in response. Like, it was almost like it was just everything was clicking for Award. There was not a single mistake made by him, and he was going against an IndyCar great. That drive right there, I was like, you know what? It's a damn shame he drives for McLaren. It really is. I mean, damn, dude. That performance right there was just grade A, calm, cool, and collective, and was just on a different level. He was a different Pato Award that day, and he came out better at the end of the day with that. The last 50 laps, or well, not really, 30 laps of the Mid-Ohio race, legendary. That should go down in history books. What we witnessed there between those two drivers.
Oh, 100%. And I know a lot of people on the comment section of that race highlight video, or even on social media at the time, were saying he won that race because of his pit crew. But I disagree with that. He was able to stay in touch with Palou that entire first stint. And then when he came down pit road, he was close enough that his team was able to have a good enough pit stop for him to leap Palou. And not only that, but to be able to hold Palou at bay, the best driver in IndyCar at the moment. I mean, without making a mistake, phenomenal drive. Pat O'Ward deserves all the kudos for that race. My next one is Connor Zilic, his win at Watkins Glen. His first career win. What was it, like his first ever the I mean, legend. I mean, there's just nothing more you can say about it. The Xfinity Series is one of the hardest series to win in all of motorsports around the world, in my opinion. It's so competitive every single year. And then you take it to a road course with the likes of AJ Allmendinger. You've got Sam Mayer, who's turned into a really good race car driver on road courses. SVG, I mean, lots of talent around him, and he was able to do. PK was in the mix at one point. I mean, just an unbelievable drive. Connor Zilic is the next big thing, man. I'm super excited. What a drive.
I mean, yeah, his finishes speak for itself.
100%. The next one I want to talk about is SVG's Portland drive. I mean, the amount of adversity. I mean, SVG
banger, baby,
absolutely looked like a clown for 90% of this race, and it was anything that could have went wrong, he did wrong. I mean, it was just, it was the most pedestrian SVG moment I've ever seen. But when the money strikes and the big time moments are needed to be happening, SVG rises to the occasion, drives back through the field like for the third time in the race, and beats Allgaier and Creed at the end of that race, takes the lead, and it goes on to win. And then the patented kicking the rugby ball into the stands. I mean, what an absolute memorable race that was.
Yeah, that was an awesome day. That was awesome because the hopelessness that I was feeling of him not being able to win the race, and then just watching the freaking godlike drive of him coming back to the field and winning the race. Incredible feeling, incredible race. Just an incredible display of talent that we got to witness there with SVG. I'm really excited to see what he could do next year.
I am super excited, and I'm getting my tickets booked for Portland here in 2025 for that Xfinity race. I want to go watch that one so bad. That's a piece of fun. That's a great track. I love Portland. I think it needs to be on the Cup schedule, in my opinion. Yeah. I think it's worthy. Next one, I want to put this one on here. That photo finish between Sam Mayer and Ryan Sieg. I mean, what a great finish, but so heartbreaking for Ryan Sieg. I mean, did everything possible to win that race and came up just a microscopic of an inch short. I mean, it sucks.
Here's one thing we do need to realize. Ryan Sieg is battling for wins.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Dude, all these years that we've been following him, and you know, the absolute monster that he is behind the wheel, sincerely. I mean, if you haven't noticed that, start taking notice, because that 39 car is going to be really fast next year. Just take notice. But that's insane.
Yeah.
100%. The 39's battling for wins. It's almost hard to comprehend after all these years of just backmarker finishes. It just goes to show that that team's mindset is in the right place, and they're willing to do what it takes.
I sense a bold prediction coming out of Ryan Sieg in 2025 out of
yeah, baby. Oh yeah,
maybe that's what we'll do next week. Maybe we'll do our bold predictions for 2025.
Oh yeah, that's great.
In honor of Christmas, maybe that's what we'll do for our podcast next Tuesday. So stay tuned. That'll be fun. Next one, I had to put it on here because this is probably the greatest drive he's ever had in his entire career. Probably will be the last great drive he has in his career. But Cooter Daly, man, he gets a podium in Milwaukee, dude. Unbelievable drive. I mean, watching that race, I was in absolute disbelief. He started in the back of the field, and he didn't just fluke his way into a podium finish. He had pace. He was quick. He was making moves on the outside. Him and Ferrucci all day long, pulling sliders, making moves on the outside, going 3 wide, and found himself in a podium position at the end of the day. I can't believe it. Still to this moment, I can't believe it. I think I texted you after the race. How the hell did Cooter finish P3? Am I freaking blind? Am I like, did this just happen? And I can't comprehend it right now. Unbelievable.
It's the Dollar General knee pads, baby.
Oh man.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it either. First and last, great for him. Good for him. GG's. Yeah. That's yeah. That is a definitely a memorable moment.
Oh man, it's so great, dude. It's so great. Oh man. All right, the next one I had to put this on here, considering how terrible, absolute dog water, garbage can, awful. I mean, a season to be ashamed of for a BMW in either Hypercar or GTP this year and IMSA World Dirt Championship. I mean, they could not get out of their own way. You've had Connor D. Felipe, Philip Ang, absolutely just TKO in every wall and concession stand, invisible radius to any racetrack that they raced at. And somehow, out of all of the terrible races, and a World Endurance Championship 2 doesn't get away with it. I mean, how many times did they wreck and have terrible performances there? They did have one shining light moment, and one of the most memorable moments. They won the 8 hours at Indianapolis, the Battle of the Bricks, with the rain conditions, one of the fiercest races I've seen. I mean, that was a Porsche race all the way, without a doubt in my mind, the entire duration until the final hour. And somehow BMW, through all the strategies and everything that happened, all the chaotic drama, they find themselves 1-2 at the end of that race. Unbelievable. Unbelievable moment. I still can't believe they won that race. Did they deserve to win that race? Not a chance in hell, but somehow they figured it out. I mean, that's all that I can say. That was a memorable moment in itself.
Yes. Yeah. I really don't have much more to add to that, to be honest.
It's just a shocker, man. Oh, man. I think you should lead us off with our next one, Brad Keselowski.
Oh, man. What a freaking year for BKR. What a freaking year, man. Or, it's not BKR. It's RFK. Sorry. BKR. I'm thinking back to the truck days. Yeah, it was truck BKR. Days, yeah. My bad. RFK. Brad Keselowski winning at Darlington. What a run he had. I mean, obviously, he had Tyler Reddick and Buescher fighting in front of him. Regardless, I think it was still an RFK win, but plus it was the first win for Ford this year.
Yeah.
And we were at Darlington. I mean, what was that, 12 races in?
Yeah,
something like
that, yeah.
So it was big. I mean, it was really cool. It was cool to see Brad Keselowski winning a race again. It really was. I think that is probably, if not the most, but one of the top 5 moments for NASCAR this year, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. That was a great race.
Yeah,
really was in contention at the beginning and kind of found himself at the front and was able to master the. I mean, Darlington's one of those tracks. I mean, they say it all the time, but you don't luck into a win at Darlington. You have to be at your A game at all times to win at Darlington.
Yeah.
And he did that race, man. He did a fantastic job. Even with the adversity he had to fight through, with Reddick challenging him, Buescher challenging him. I mean, what a great ride by Keselowski that day on Darlington. I think you should lead us off with the next one too, because this is an amazing moment, man. One of the best races.
Oh man. Oh yeah, definite contention for best race of the year. Brazil F1. That Max Verstappen drive, oh my goodness. What, I mean, this is prime example of why I believe Max Verstappen is the GOAT. I do. You cannot, I don't believe, you can put anybody on that grid and do what Max Verstappen did that day. I just don't think you could do it. Max Verstappen has proven that he has been the best driver in the rain multiple times. In terrible cars, even going back to the Toro Rosso days. Look, this should be a showcase on how to drive a car in the wet. This is what Max did in Brazil was insane. And then on top of that, we got another treat. We've got the 2-3 finish by Alpine. A double podium for Alpine, man. For Alpine. And again, like what we were talking about earlier, Gasly did it with no damage to his car. Incredible. Freaking incredible. This is maybe top 5 races I've ever seen. Probably. Most likely.
It was an amazing race, man. All the twists and turns in that race with the weather changing, the different strategies that were being played out. I mean, it really showed who the best drivers in F1 are, and I think that they
Lance Stroll beaching it in turn 4.
Yeah, K-Mag landing up on the brim there, and then pushing him back on the track. I mean,
no, that was Hulkenberg.
Oh yeah, Hulkenberg, not yeah, K-Mag.
Yeah.
It was Hulkenberg. Yeah, that was a memorable race, man.
You know
And
what's funny about that, Jay? Those track workers are employed by the FIA.
I know,
They
dude.
know the freaking rules, man, and they did them dirty. They did them
man.
dirty.
It was so bad, dude. Oh man, and like you said, Alpine with the 2-3 finish. I mean, Ocon led segments of that race from the front, was trying to hold off Max Verstappen, but Verstappen was just the man to beat that day. Probably the best drive, I mean, I've seen in a long time. I mean, that was such an amazing race. And then for the Alpines to be able to hang in there at P2, P3, and it really showed a lot of the guys that are considered good because of the rides they're in didn't really have that good of days. Look at Lando Norris; he really struggled in this race, and I think it has a lot to say about what type of driver he really is. So that was a memorable race for sure. I think the last one we got to talk about here, because we are getting towards the end of this podcast. Probably gonna hurry this up a little bit, but I do got one more I want to talk about. Oliver Behrman stepping in for Carlos Sainz with the appendix being removed. Jumps in for his F1 debut with Ferrari. He scores points at Jeddah. And if you've been around the channel, you know how much me and Tom hate frickin' Jeddah. That track is frickin' dog water.
That track sucks,
that track
man.
is trash, bro. And not only in his F1 debut in that Ferrari, he was able to score points. What a phenomenal drive. I mean, unbelievable. And I think that really set him up for being able to get this F1 opportunity he's going to have next year with Haas. And I'm excited to see what he can do in 2025. But that drive put him on the map, and that was an amazing drive with the circumstances and the track that he had to drive on. And being his debut at the early parts of the season with Ferrari, obviously does not know how to start a season at all with their development cycle. I mean, that was just a great race. Unbelievable moment.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. It really was.
Alrighty. The last few things we want to talk about here is we got
Jay, fly through it.
Okay, we got the move of the year with the community vote. That poll is out now, so go vote for it. We got Chris Buescher at Kansas, his 5-wide needle threader pass. That's going to be the nominee here. Second one is also a Chris Buescher nominee at Darlington, the one that Keselowski won, where he made that apron pass 3 wide to the bottom. Unbelievable. The cojones on this man. Unbelievable this year. Next one is Hunter McElrea, battling for the lead late in the 12 Hours of Sebring. Makes a move in turn 17 to the inside with a GTD car and then one of the United LMP2 cars that was leading the race. Makes a daring move to the inside. What an absolute Chad move by Hunter McElrea. And then the next one, I completely forgot about this till Tom mentioned, but Alex Albon at Canada. We have coined this the Alex Albon move. We say it all the time. He slices and dices through 2 cars, both Alpines, makes the pass through the middle of them and makes the move. Unbelievable move there by Alex Albon. That poll is out now on the channel if you guys want to go vote for it. And then our bonehead move of the, or our bonehead of the year. This was by you guys. I went through our community page through the year, picked the highest voted upon boneheads of the week from the season. The first one on the list is the pace car driver hitting the sand barrels at Phoenix. That is a clear nominee. I'm glad you guys voted that one. Next one is old Big Willie. How many times we got to keep talking about old Big Willie? We talk about it one more time
Ballad
tonight.
of Big Willie.
The Ballad of Big Willie. Absolutely. TKO. The ARCA break moment, not of the year, not of the month, not of the race, but of the century. At Daytona. The next one is Corey LaJoie flipping himself over at Michigan, trying to make a pass on Lyle Gregson. Really kind of, I think if you were to talk about Corey LaJoie's career 10 years from now, you're going to look back at this as being the key moment of what defined his career. And then the next one, which surprised me, this one, it was like but the 90 percentile. But Lance Stroll at the Chinese Grand Prix at Shanghai, when he absolutely goes into turn 1 and lifts Daniel Ricciardo's car up off the ground, absolutely TKOs him. I think they even did a full 30-minute breakdown of this wreck on the F1 official channel. So that just goes to show how boneheaded it was. That poll is also out on the channel right now if you guys want to vote for it as well. This was a fun podcast. We had a lot of great memories, moments. We're going to get that poll up after the podcast of the driver of the year for you guys to vote on now that we got our 5 nominees. And then next week, we're going to be back with our bold predictions for 2025. I think that next week on Christmas Eve, I think that'll be a good podcast to do for that. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this podcast here tonight. Make sure you guys go follow us on all of our socials. We got all the social media platforms you could think of. All the links are in the description below. Go follow us there, support us there, stay up to date with everything happening in the motorsports world. Also, come join our Discord. We've got so much motorsports news, and we talked about it before the podcast. We're going to get updated and get prepared for the 2025 season. We'll get the new schedules out there. Any more news or driver silly season stuff happening in the motorsports world, we'll have that all posted as well for you guys here on the Discord. We're going to get that all ready to go here for 2025. Also, if you guys want to support us, go check out our merch store. That's the link is in the description below. Go buy you some Big Daddy NASCAR, Big Daddy IMSA. Go buy you some Dega Boy, Big Daddy Dega Boy merch, whatever it may be. We got hats, t-shirts, sweatpants, beanies, bumper stickers. Stick one on your wife, girlfriend's car. Show the support for the Dega Boys Broadcasting Network. I just want to say thank you guys again so much, everybody that tuned in on Kick and YouTube. What an amazing 2024 season this was, getting to relive some of these memorable moments, our Boneheads of the Year, Driver of the Year debate, and then our community vote for the Move of the Year as well. I think just awesome. And maybe next week, Tom, we'll come on here with the since we didn't get enough time to do it today, I want to go over the Rolex 24 entry list with you guys next week as well. And then I like your idea. I think we need to debate what the race of the year is, and we'll get a poll for that for next week as well. And then our bold predictions for 2025. So lots of fun stuff. And then obviously when we get to New Year's Eve, we'll have our full IMSA 2025 season preview, and then we'll do all the series week by week after that. So thank you guys again for tuning in. It's been another great podcast here on the Dega Boys Broadcasting Network, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.